Okay, so for today we're talking about the Venns, but we're also adding in triple Venns, and we're also adding in givens. And so let's do a little review first of what you needed to know from double Venns. If I asked you to do the probability on this one, you'll probably, well, first of all, you need scratch paper, and you'll need a graphing calculator. I'm going to pause for a second while you take those out. Here we go. So, probability of pepperoni in this case, the common wrong answer is 0.05. You can see why they might think it. It seems like that's the pepperoni number, but it really should be both added together. 0.05 and the 0.06 makes what? 0.11. All right, so that would be the first one. How about the probability of sausage? Common mistake answer would be what? 0.18. Common, or not common, but the right answer would be 0.24 because you have to add both of these together. All right. Next up is sausage and pepperoni. This goes counterintuitive. And seems like it should be a big number that adds a whole bunch of things together. But pepperoni and sausage is just this one. So it would be 0.06. Next one is sausage or pepperoni. Again, counterintuitive. Or seems like, to me anyway, or seems like it should be this or that. But really it's all of them because these people like sausage or pepperoni also. So they happen to like both. So they add them all up and it ends up being, let's see, 0.29. Thank you. And you could have done that by taking 1 minus this number also. And the last thing is pepperoni with a slash sausage. Do you remember what that means? That's the thing we haven't talked about yet. It's the given. When they do a slash like that means given. So let's do given that it's sausage. And again, we'll spell it out more clearly on any major 85% quizzes. But given that they like sausage, or they're going to have sausage, what's probability of pepperoni? This would be like, I don't care what the chart says. If I'm paying for the meal, Dad says, we're having sausage, and then we can also have something else if you want. Well, then if all of a sudden it's going to be sausage, then this is the only thing that is what? Possible. And possible is important. Possible goes on the bottom. And the given has changed now. Instead of being a 1 on the denominator, now it's whatever's possible. And these guys are possible, adds up to 0.24. And then the pepperoni, it'd be very easy to think, oh, he said pepperoni was this one and this one. Why don't I put 0.11 up here? That would be wrong in this case. Why can't I use both of those? Heidi. You're exactly right. This one's not in the given. It's not possible. So this one's the only one that I can use. So 0.06 over 0.24. Somebody's probably already has that. What is it? 0.25. You might even be able to see that reduces to 1/4. So 0.25, 25% chance. All right. So there's just a little review of what you needed to know before. Now, this is called a complement. A complement is like when you say everything except this. Like, for instance, what's the probability she does not get an A on a French quiz? Well, and that means you add up all the other things that are not A, right? So what else could she get? Well, if you're going to be technical, A minus, C plus, B, B minus, okay? Or if you're just going to use whole letter grades, if it's not A, it must be B, C, D, or F. Okay, you add up all the other things, and that's called the complement. I'll give you a better, easier example. Let's say that there's a 30% chance of rain tomorrow. What's the complement to that? 70% chance of rain tomorrow. Get the idea? It's the other part. They'll add up to 100%. All right. So if I was, it says that it's denoted as F to the C. So for instance, in this case, if it was the 70-30 thing, let's make it 60%. Say there's a 60% chance of rain tomorrow. Then I'd go like this. But if I want its complement, I would go like that with a little c. What would the answer to that be? 0.60 to the c, which means the complement of 0.60. Yes, 0.4. All right. Next, I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, next some symbols. This one is the same as or. That is a union symbol. Do you remember the name of the symbol here that's the same as and? It's not union, it's intersection. Very good. The intersection makes sense. Two streets cross at an intersection. That's the intersection. And the union is like all of these things added together. Again, they mean the same as the ands and the ors. And the last one is, that's not visible here, is that complement one. That one is, again, the complement means anything that's not in A. So in this case, complement of A means if it's in A, it can't be right. So these are the only things that are possible. That would be the complement of A, is the other stuff that's not A. All right, moving on. If we're going to take a instant poll here in class, I'm going to ask you about Chipotle versus noodles versus Subway. Can I just take those three red numbers then, 16 Subway people, 24 Chipotle people, and 23 noodles, and add them all up and get a total of like 53? No, because there's not 53 of you in here. So to get this number of the grand total, it should go on top right here. Then I got to figure out what all the green numbers add up to. So would you take just a second? I'm getting 30 from a bunch of people. Does that sound right? Somebody that actually used a calculator, what'd you get? 30? Okay, good. All right. So now you've got all our numbers on our chart. Now we can start doing the probabilities that are related to it. So on your scratch paper, I'd like you to try this one with me. Let's say that there's one of the people that you're about to go out to eat with that just says we've got to remove Chipotle because I get sick if we go to Chipotle, so we just can't choose that option. Okay, so then given that, what's the probability that we would visit both Noodles and Subway sometime that week? Given that the person says we just can't go to Chipotle, what's the probability you'll go to both Noodles and Subway during that week that you have summer camp or whatever? All right. So as soon as I said given, what am I changing in my problem? Denominator. And I said given it can't be Chipotle. That means that these aren't possible anymore. So now my possibles are only the green ones that are left. So what's possible? 6. And what's the probability that what's the one we want that we should put on top? 2. So then there's 2 out of 6 chance, which is the same as 1 out of 3, which is what? 0.333, 33% chance. All right. Now let's try something a little tougher. We'll use one of those. Yeah, that's sort of like a compliment. What is the probability, given that we're not going to go to Noodles, that we would only go to Chipotle that week? Given that we would not go to Noodles, what's the probability that we would go to just Chipotle during that week of summer camp? 2 out of 7 comes out to 0.286, so there's our probability. Those are the only things that were possible, is these two were the only ones left. Well, these are all left, but a couple of them are zeros. And then the ones that are the ones we want on top, and 2 divided by 7 is 0.286. All right. Last thing is, if you were given this problem on your homework, here's how it would probably look. They would not give you all the green numbers. They would give you the red numbers and make you figure out some of the green numbers. Let's say they didn't give you that, and let's say that they didn't give you the middle number, and let's say they didn't give you that number, and they didn't give you that number. All right. Now, I think kids make mistakes on this because they think, oh, I can just pick any one of these and figure it out, but you can't. You can't just pick any one. Which one could you figure out, though? Duncan. That Subway blank number there, yes. Because we know that this plus this plus this plus this has to add up to, oh, wait a minute. I don't know my total for Subway. I erased it. But you're right, I'd need that. Sorry about that. That was 16. So I'd need that. Then I could figure out my middle number. So you look for the one that only has one missing and figure out that number. Okay, that's all there is to it.